Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti, and today, you know what, I face a conundrum. So every year I have this issue in February where I start craving watermelon, right? And of course it's not available in February because, seasons and gardening and stuff, it just doesn't match up. Well, now I have figured out a way. I have figured out a solution to all of my fruity problems, okay? And what is that solution, you might ask? I'm going to be doing a product review on this watermelon amigurumi kit by Darn Good Yarn. I was so excited when they sent out the emails for this and they had this available. So without further ado, I'm going to start rambling and I'm going to jump over to my table and we're going to get into the contents of this carton. Alright, so this Darn Good Yarn DIY Watermelon Amigurumi Kit is supposed to be an absolute basic beginner knit and crochet starter kit, okay? And on the front of the pattern it says that it includes the knitting needles and the crochet hooks. Alright, and on the back of this box they show you everything else that's supposed to be in this kit. So they give you all the yarn, they give you all the stuffing and the darning needle that you need to get started. So I'm going to crack this guy open. The one thing you will need are your own scissors. Alright. And voila. Is that everything? No. Alright. Here are DP ends. If you're an experienced knitter with double pointed needles, then by all means these are great. You can use these today. I'm going to be crocheting. They provided me a hook as well as a darning needle, which I'm not too sure that I'm going to use the crochet hook. It is supposed to be a 3mm crochet hook, so I'm just gonna grab a 3mm crochet hook out of my own stash. I don't typically work too well with plastic crochet hooks. Alright, so instead today I'm gonna be using one of these. Alright, here is my stuffing. Here is my pattern, or patterns. I'm going to unfold this. I like that it's printed nice and big and it's not in a booklet form, so you can mark this up any way you need to. It includes lots of helpful graphics as to how to get started. I love that, as well as your abbreviations over here on the panel. And then this is the knitting side, and then over here is going to be the crochet side. They provide in-depth instructions on both sides of the page. Okay, so we're going to get into the crocheting. So today I think I am going to make a red watermelon. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get into the crochet. So they have a nice amount of yarn. It's super soft, as all amigurumi should be. So alright, let me just unravel this and we're going to get into the instructions. Alright, with red yarn, cast on 6 single crochet with a circular cast on. Alright, so I'm going to do that. This is supposed to be a crochet pattern, but it says a cast on, so that makes me think about knitting, which can be confusing if someone doesn't know how to crochet. But okay. Alright, welcome to this little speed through here. I figured that this would be a better way of just kind of showing off the pattern that I worked up for this kit instead of having it long and drawn out. But anyway, so some things that I noticed about the pattern. First of all, it wasn't very specific about what the cast on meant, and you really do need to look at the pictures
that they provide to know that they meant a magic circle. So you can see that I struggled a little bit with that concept, but once I got it, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, it was a light bulb moment. Another thing that got me about the pattern itself was that it didn't specify whether to join with a slip stitch or if I was to work in a spiral. Eventually I just said YOLO and I worked in a spiral for the entire thing, and it turned out completely fine. So I would say if you buy this kit and you work up this pattern, to just, you know, go by your own discretion with that. If you prefer to work in a spiral, work in a spiral. I find doing that, it eliminates the seam in the project itself. But overall, this was a really good, well written pattern. I don't know how else to express that. Had plenty of in-depth instruction, so pretty much everything was a yes for me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they provided the crochet hook and the needles, but I am a aluminum or wood type girl, so what I did, I used my own crochet hook and I used my own darning needle for this process. But if like you are purchasing this just to try out crochet and try out amigurumi at the same time, then feel free to use the tools that they provided in the kit. So yeah, that's pretty much my critique on that. You will need your own scissors. They don't provide those, but that's most people have scissors in their house, so that's not really a big deal. There was enough yarn in the packaging, which I'll talk about later, where you could make both of the watermelon patterns, because I just made the like quarter slice. There was another one that was cut a little differently, and so in the future I may revisit this pattern and create the other one and just post some really cute pictures to Instagram. But I think this was a really good amigurumi pattern, and it was very simple. The yarn that they provide is super soft. It was super soft. I will not get over this yarn anyway soon. But yeah, so if you have any questions about this kit before you purchase, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be glad to answer those as I get to them. Also, I'll be writing a full review for this pattern slash kit, which may be more eloquent than I can speak, so feel free to check that out. I will leave that linked in the description box and probably pin it as a top comment, as well as the link to this kit. I think it was super cute, and yeah, I am so glad that Darn Good Yarn gave me the privilege or opportunity to review this kit. It was really cool to do. This is my first review ever from an affiliate company, so this is really great to do. Alright, now I'm going to shut up and let you guys continue to enjoy the video. Bye! Wait, I lied. I'm sorry. You know, some, tips on working amigurumi patterns in general. Stitch markers are lifesavers because it's easy to lose count. I mentioned this later. It's easy to lose count, and you'll see me in the speed through continually recounting and just making sure I have my stuff right with the pattern, because it's easy to do. I've designed a couple of amigurumi patterns myself, and I lose count sometimes with my own pattern, so there's one thing. And then it's nice to keep a highlighter. You guys can kind of see on my page here, I have some markings on the pattern. That's just to keep up with where I am. You can use different colors for, you know, different points, or you can use a pen, the circle. But yeah, those are just some handy things to keep handy. Alright, also something else to keep in mind, this retail value for this kit is $19.99. So as I will express later in the review, it really isn't bad for the amount of content that you get in a little carton. I mean, you get all 6 colors of the yarn that you need to complete it, and like I said, there was enough to do both patterns if you should choose to do so. And going to a regular craft store, come on guys, you guys have seen my yarn hauls. When I need something, I tend to go and like my eyes stray and I get everything that I don't need along with the things that I do need for a specific project. So I think all things considered, you come out cheaper purchasing this kit as opposed to going to the store trying to just buy the colors you need for the specific pattern. Also, this is a good thing to experiment with. If you're thinking about getting into amigurumi, it's a good idea in general to like test out little kits from different retailers, specifically this one, but it kind of helps you gauge whether or not the amigurumi life is for you. Like I said, I've designed a couple of amigurumi over the course of the however many years I've been crocheting, and where I really like doing amigurumi, thus me doing this review, I know that I'm more of a garment maker. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can do the amigurumi, but like I prefer to design shawls and stuff. So this is a good way to test whether or not this is something that you would like to do on the regular. By the time you churn out one or both of the projects, you can decide, yeah, I like working with the 3mm crochet hook, or no, I don't. So yeah, but for me this was pretty cool. I don't mind working with small here lately. I have been working with thinner and thinner fibers, so it just depends on what you like to work with.
Alright, so I ended up with something pretty darn cute, if I do say so myself. So now I want to talk a little bit about the whole kit and what I think about it. So like I said, this kit came with everything you needed in there. It came with a crochet hook, it came with a set of 4 DPNs, it also came with the stuffing and all the yarn that you would need to complete either project or maybe even both. I have enough yarn left over where I think I can make the other watermelon, so I may do that in the future. Okay, so when it came to reading the pattern, I thought that the pattern was pretty well written out, but there were two things that caught my attention. One, the pattern didn't really specify whether you were supposed to join the rounds with a slip stitch or whether you were supposed to work in a spiral. So a little bit of clarification would have been nice on that, because I think that could be confusing for people who are not really super like good at crochet, like they're just starting to crochet or starting to learn. I don't know if that would confuse them or not. Also the terminology. So typically in crochet patterns, people don't say cast on, and in this pattern, I was definitely confused in the beginning. You might have saw me polish just a little bit about the start off, because it's saying cast on 6 stitches and the other pattern says cast on 7 stitches, and I'm like, huh? And so I had to double take and make sure I wasn't trying to follow the knitting patterns, but it was definitely the crochet pattern. So if there was anything that I'd have to criticize about that pattern, those would be the two things in particular. Otherwise, the pattern itself is very well written out. I would also recommend with this pattern kit that maybe in the future include stitch markers in there, because when people are learning how to crochet or doing beginner amigurumi, sometimes it's hard to keep count with it and it's easy to lose track of your rows. Alright, those are my criticisms. Overall though, considering that you have everything that you need in this box to create the patterns, I think that it was pretty good. Normal value is $19.99 on their website, so I think that that's a good deal. So I'm going to tell you why. In my own experience, just by going to the yarn store, okay, I know that I would end up spending at least $60 getting all the 6 colors included in this box to make the amigurumi. If I'm new to crochet or have a very minimal collection of hooks, then I'll be buying hooks and then the darning needle and all that jazz. So I know I would not walk out of like a Joann's or a Michael's with anything less than a $70 or $80 haul. Not to mention, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to the yarn store, my eyes tend to stray a little bit, so I get everything that I don't need and what I actually needed. And so this is a good way to avoid that. And I also think that this is a good test pattern for people who think they might want to get into amigurumi without having to dive in and get a bunch of like amigurumi making stuff and then only to find out that they don't like working with the small hook size. So that being said, I would probably buy another one of these kits in the future, just because the project was easy to follow along with and I had enough in there to do whichever craft I wanted to do, whether I knit or crochet. I decided to crochet mine, but if you are experienced with DPNs, then by all means have fun with it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you for watching this review, and until next time guys, happy making.